Hi everybody, my name is Jules Sherrod. I am an award finalist cookbook author, an award-winning commercial food photographer, a freelance journalist, and an award champion bodybuilder, as well as a disability and trans rights advocate. And today, this is where I awkwardly ask you to back my Kickstarter while I crochet, to keep my hands busy so they're not just like flailing all over the place because I am a hand talker. Um, so, why am I doing a Kickstarter? The short answer is because of book bans in the United States. Schools, libraries, and now in some states, some bookstores are planning to ban books, YA books specifically, with trans characters by trans authors. And after being out on submission for 2.5 years with my debut fiction novel, coming of age novel called Chasing Cars, my agent and I decided to pull it because these bans are causing publishers to not only specifically say we do not want you to pitch us diverse books or books with any type of um, issue. Issues books is what they're causing it. They're also asking some authors to rewrite books with queer characters to make those characters no longer queer. And it's just really, really hostile right now. And it's affecting the trans authors in both Canada and the United States from being published, because even though Canadian authors have or Canadian publishers have a bit of a different mandate than American publishers, if a book isn't going to sell in the American market to the audience, if book buyers aren't going to buy it because of the book bans, they're also in Alberta, I should mention that, then they're not going to take a chance on a book that booksellers are not going to want to buy to put in bookstores. So that is why I'm doing the Kickstarter. And why Chasing Cars specifically? If you go to the Kickstarter, you will see like the about the book thing where I talk about, oh, I'm supposed to be crocheting, so I don't hand talk. Sorry about that. You will see like what the book is about, but I'm going to tell you specifically about why I wrote the story and where it came from. And for that, I'm going to use my phone so I don't miss anything. So this is on the Kickstarter page, and you'll be able to read it once the Kickstarter is live. So basically, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, I became outraged. This outrage grew as transmasculine people were and continue to be excluded from discussions about reproductive rights and bodily autonomy. In Canada, private clinics are allowed to deny abortion care to transmasculine individuals. And if you did not know, I should mention this earlier, I am Canadian. And this is a Canadian story. I had a story bubbling inside of me that I wanted to write based on my friendship with my best friend in high school, but was unsure how it would look. Dobbs solidified how that story would look. I looked at my experiences as a pregnant trans teen boy in foster care who had an abortion in the early 1990s and asked myself, how would these events look if they happened today? Research by the University of British Columbia demonstrate that here at home in British Columbia, transmasculine youth face the highest rates of discrimination and gender-based violence and the least amount of mental health supports. The study is linked in the Kickstarter once it goes live, but if you want to search it beforehand, it's called The Wellbeing Gap, Highlighting Challenges and Support for Gender Diverse Youth in BC, 2018 to 2023. A 2023 report prepared by the BC Representative for Children and Youth demonstrated that trans youth in BC foster care system experience the highest rates of discrimination, violence, and critical injury while in care, plus are routinely denied gender-affirming care. And this is also linked, and if you want to look it up beforehand, it's called The Right to Thrive, an urgent care to recognize, respect, and nurture two-spirit, trans, non-binary, and other gender-diverse children and youth, June 2023. I wrote this book in weeks. My agent and I got it ready for submission, then shopped it. However, as I already said, after 2.5 years, we decided to pull the book from submission, instead choosing to self-publish. The Trump administration's policies have resulted in USA bans on YA books by trans authors with trans characters. This has resulted in both American and Canadian publishers shying away from buying such works. The book ban in Alberta associated with such subject matter are also having a chilling effect. Now more than ever, books like this need to be available. While I'm a traditionally published nonfiction author and journalist, this will be my debut literary fiction novel, published under the alias Konaya Edgar, to separate my nonfiction and fiction. And I know some of that was repeat, but it just was bared reading it so I wouldn't forget anything. So yeah, that is my pitch. There will be all types of perks, including ebooks and paperbacks and hardbacks, and your name could be in the book. And there's thank you cards of the book cover. And I should also probably mention, and that's not all the perks. If I go over everything, then this video will be too long. And everybody working on this project is Canadian and trans or gender diverse. I have 2 trans women. The editor and the proofreader are trans women. I'm a trans man. And then the book designer and audiobook producer and narrator is a gender non-binary trans masculine person. So, and yeah, the audiobook is a stretch goal. So yeah, this is my awkward video. I would really, really support it, or really, really appreciate it. If you can't pitch in, at least share it far and wide. As I already said, it's really important that they don't win, and that books like this continue to be made. So that's it. That's my pitch. That's everything. Thanks for listening. Bye.